John Woo. Now, if you don't know who John Woo is, he's basically one of my favorite and one of the world's favorite action directors out of China. He's famous for a series of films that he did with Chow Yun-fat, which, this is Chow Yun-fat, beautiful man. And the reason we're talking about him is because a trailer dropped for a new project of his that I had not heard about until today that has me a little on the edge about how I feel about it. See, John Woo is responsible for some of my favorite action films and action scenes of all time, specifically Hard Boiled, 1992 movie with Chow Yun-fat that has this shootout scene that happens in a hospital that is absolutely insane. It's an insane movie if you haven't seen it. And he's also produced some American films since moving over to American cinema that are also well respected, at least in the zeitgeist of my mind. The top ones that I think of when I think of his American films that really popped off, so to speak, and I will speak so, would have to be Mission Impossible 2, which was one of my favorite Mission Impossibles, as well as Face Off, which, if you don't know Face Off, it's like one of my favorite fun, insane action movies. It's a movie that involves John Travolta and Nicolas Cage having their faces switched. It's a whole thing. Just go check it out if you haven't, trust me. That being said, some of his American films also have not hit that well. One that I would say probably wasn't the best was Wind Talkers. Now, before all the Wind Talker heads come after me, when I was a kid, I did love that film. But looking back on it recently, it's definitely comes off a little cheesier than I think it was supposed to. And it's one of his weaker entries.
Orioda. Jab for prisoner.
Orioda.
Now, with all of that background given, today he dropped a trailer for a movie called The Killer. And if you know John Woo, you know that he also had a movie come out in 1989, which was called, spoiler alert, The Killer. And it also starred my boy, Chow Yun-fat. Maybe not my boy, but I'd like to think he's my boy. The point is, when it comes to an iconic action director like John Woo, I would usually be the guy to say never try to remake any of his movies. It's a horrible mistake. It's sacrilege. It's sacrilegious. However, the director of this remake of the 1989 The Killer film is also John Woo. This is to say that John Woo is directing a remake of his own film, and that is an intriguing situation. So now I can't really call it sacrilege because, who am I to judge John Woo for adapting a John Woo film into a new John Woo film? That's just his wheelhouse. So I figured before we watch the trailer that just dropped for the brand new The Killer that's coming out this year, we'd watch the trailer for the original film, the 1989 The Killer. Now, my big fear is that the remake doesn't have Chow Yun-fat, and without Chow Yun-fat, how could it be as good? If you can't tell, I'm a big fathead. So this is the 1989 trailer, and this is just to give you an idea of what this film is based on and what it's trying to live up to. So let's take a quick look at that, a gander, if you will.
One of the 10 best films of the year.
It was one of the 10 best films of the year.
A mixture of outlandishly stylized camp and
I trust
outrageously
Jay
sensational shootouts.
This is also, The Killer is just a classic example of the kind of work that John Woo does. Really over-the-top, really extreme action. Really gory, with great cinematography and
Outrageously
choreography.
exhilarating, guaranteed to tingle the most
Joe Layden loved
moviegoer's
it.
palate.
And I might have to rewatch this movie and do a reaction video to it soon. Because to be honest, I watched this when I was in high school, and I really don't remember much of this one.
The combined energy of the Road Warrior, RoboCop, and the Terminator.
Wow. But they don't make movies like this anymore. Just the way it's shot, the practical effects, the intense over-the-top choreography. So I'm hoping we have all those elements in this new one.
Great cinema.
John Woo. Why are they smiling?
The Killer, a thriller comedy that will leave you breathless.
Oh, it's a thriller comedy. So that is a quintessential example of classic John Woo filmography, you get it. And this is now the remake of The Killer coming out as a Peacock original, directed by the man himself, John Woo. Let's see if he can live up to his own stuff. Oh, again, I hate that trailers always start with a trailer of the trailer. Let's just get into it. Thank you.
Some of the boys think you are a legend.
What did they say?
What do they say?
They say you were the queen of the dead.
Great title. Okay, so far the fight choreography feels very
Why
John
did
Woo.
you
This
say
slow
you go?
motion bullet.
Easy question, not so easy answer.
I've been all around town, based on
Contract was clear. She should
Oh,
be
the
dead. You
doves.
just betrayed the most dangerous man in Paris.
John Woo has a lot of dove symmetry. Or,
witness.
symbolism.
If you want to live, come with me.
Come with me if you want to live. Oh, this looks sweet.
So you're a good cop then?
Very. And you
We
are
need
an
good
assassin?
action movies again. I feel like they've been getting a little lazy.
Are you trying to do something good for a change?
I'm always good at what I do.
Looks very different from the original,
And every killer in
obviously.
the city after you.
Looks like he's done a whole reimagining of the
Never
original
said boys
concept.
do a woman's job.
Because she's definitely not Chow Yun-fat. The classic spinning. Yes.
Why don't you drop it?
I wouldn't. Yeah, all of these fight scenes look very Woo. The slow motion, the shootouts. Interesting. You know, I'm gonna be honest. That looked pretty solid. I think this is probably gonna be sweet. I mean, John Woo always, at the very least, delivers on the action, but it seems to really not have the spirit or the original direction of the first film, and that could be a good or a bad thing. I'm not necessarily against the idea of a director reimagining his own ideas in new frameworks or in sort of new time periods. So, all in all, I think it's probably not going to be remembered as highly regarded as The Killer, obviously, because that's like an all-time classic action comedy film. But this could be a really refreshing change to a lot of the action that we're seeing now. So, we'll see. Let me know what you think about the Wooster. I need to stop saying that. Let me know what you think about John Woo's latest trailer, and if you think this is going to live up to the original, or maybe provide us a whole new perspective on his work. I don't know. That being said, I'm going to go take a nap. Also, it comes out August 23rd. That's what the thing says.